Hey, what's up? This is your favorite wrestling podcast. I am CrunkChocolate. This is my show, bro. Greggo, how are you doing, homie?
I can finally bathe again. So when I tell you it's a
You
good
on
day in
that
the
that
A.
Travis Kelsey showering schedule?
Oh God. Oh, that was just nasty. Trust me, like you don't appreciate a good toilet until your city damn near gets shut down because the water main breaks and like that. And I live in downtown Atlanta, and I live in a historically black neighborhood of Atlanta, and it hit me dead on. And like I actually remember it very vividly because Friday morning I took a shower to get ready to go to work, and as I think I was brushing my teeth, and I turned the water on, and the pressure was noticeably weaker than it normally is. And then like I probably say when I got to work that day, that's when like the news had broke out about the water main, and of course everything like downtown had shut down, all the government offices had shut down because like when you said the water was off, I mean you couldn't do shit, you couldn't flush, you couldn't do nothing, couldn't wash your hands, none of that shit. And of course, when you come home, you don't realize like how often you use the bathroom until you can't flush. And there is nothing that will stay with you as when you gotta pee and poop and all that stuff. It's like, and you can't flush it, and you're like, no, I don't even want to go in my bathroom right now. I know that's way too much TMI for all y'all out there, but like, yo, it was not pretty. It was not pretty at all.
And just to think that you're one person's experience and there were thousands of others who went through the same experience, and like you said, that water
It
main
messed up
break.
Meg the Stallion. The hotties couldn't hot until like Sunday. Like, dog, it was crazy.
Well, I mean, I'm sure Hottie went to a hotel or something.
I mean, she probably did, but
Yes,
like
I'm
you had
sure
people
that.
that were coming into town. It's like okay, because like
Oh yeah.
I think the shows were like Friday and Saturday. They got pushed to Sunday and Monday, and it's like yeah, if you came out of town to see Meg, you got to pay up a little.
Oh, I wasn't even aware
Yeah,
she was in. Okay, I was wondering why.
yeah,
I was like, why was she there? Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense. Dang, that
yeah.
messed up Meg
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I think they had it was Meg. They had Glorilla, Lotto. Like yeah, like it was a stacked
Dang, they
show.
clicking up like that.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
clicking
yeah,
up like that. Wow, I love that shit. And
yeah.
speaking of the rap girlies, Sexy Red at NXT. Like, I mean, where else are we gonna start? I mean, especially
Oh
about
yes,
the
that that
hotties.
that yes,
Whole,
perfect one to start off with. Like
wow.
first of all, I like that whole show in itself had to be like one of the better NXT episodes ever,
Truly.
and and because like they didn't just leave it with just Sexy Red. You had the surprise of Jordan Grace, the TNA champion, coming to challenge Roxanne Perez. You had the shock debut of Ethan Page, who was just formerly with AEW. Um, of course, they unveiled the Women's North American Championship belt, which honestly, I got to tell you, that thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I'd probably say top three in the whole company, maybe.
And I feel like they had to because unfortunately people are wanting to poop on it, which actually I don't want to say people are wanting to, because that, let's just say misogyny wants to misogyny, is we're seeing it with the W right now.
Mhm.
And so it's just
Oh
like
God.
guys kind of wild out, but they say it all the time and it's kind of like tongue in cheek, but they're real with it. NXT does have the best women's division in all of wrestling.
I think there's a strong argument right now. I think that, I mean, it's just crazy, like how with the way that NXT sort of obviously is supposed to be developmental for the main roster. And so, in a lot of ways, you're kind of like it is kind of like the minor league system, in like baseball, where it's
Oh,
like you
1,000%.
have all these prospects. Only a handful are probably going to get up to the main roster, and a lot of them won't. And so what happens there is that it cultivates a lot of competition as far as just like who's going to make it and who's not. And I think that right now they've developed a really strong crop. Like you've already seen, a few of them, make their way up to the main roster recently. You had Lyra Valkyria, you had
Keanu Charlotte.
Aladon and Ivy Now. You had Kiana James who just had her first one on Raw.
Yep.
It's definitely doing its thing, and and of course even with who's still there, it's like
Woo!
yo, it's
Woo!
crazy. But yeah, yeah. Before I say anything, yeah, shout out to Lyra Valkyria. First of all, for that bodysuit at King and Queen of the Ring, and also just for taking that squash to Nia, because that was crazy. That was gnarly as shit.
Oh yeah, no, that. Oh yeah, and it helps because also she's young and she's tiny too, so it really looked like she just got splat. Woo! And my girl Naya, the queen. Oh my goodness, you deserve queen, queen. Oh my goodness, and also happy belated birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, okay, so uh, we
But yeah,
we'll
NXT, yes, it was the blackest episode ever
yes,
in life,
and
ever.
and Sexy Red, for one, she was a natural. Like you could tell that she was uncomfortable, but she still powered through, and she looked like she was having fun, even with the mess up. When she walked in to tell Trick and good luck before their match,
Mhm,
and she like immediately walked out, and they were like, "Wait, there's still more," and then she just like stopped and backed up, and it's just she herself is so quirky and awkward and goofy that it actually comes off as a character in the wrestling
mhm.
world. So she fit
Yeah,
kayfabe very well.
yeah. I mean, you know, a lot of times when you have a lot of celebrities, you can kind of tell this is in their particular lane, especially when you're talking about like live TV, because you're talking about like in a lot of cases where like they're used to being able to have a lot of takes and redos before you actually get like the real thing. Where here it's like, hey,
No.
it's one take Jake, and you get it out there live. And I think that she definitely, um, I think she rolled with it. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, if you mess up, you get right back up and just keep swinging, and that's okay. And
She kept
I
everything
think they,
short. So I mean,
yeah,
it really wasn't. And that was
they didn't give her
that was
too much to
powerful.
where she could fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. And also at the beginning I said the Travis Kelsey showering schedule and I meant the Jason Kelsey showering schedule. Sorry, don't
Either
mean
way, it's
mix up.
nasty.
Either
Either way, it's
way, it's
nasty.
nasty. You right. Okay. So I just Sexy Red coming on. I just want to say this quickly. It especially with it being like you said the minor leagues, the
Hmm.
academy, the build up.
Hmm. Yeah,
That also shows you the temperature to the future of WWE. And
yeah.
between them being in Philly, they had Meek Mill's Meek
Hmm.
Mill, his song was for the intro. There
Yeah.
have been a few other like Snoop. I mean, they've always been a part of the culture. They've always recognized the culture. But
They
with
have, but they have. Listen, like now it feels
well,
like with
Vince,
Triple H and Sean.
oh man,
Yeah,
sorry.
with Triple H and Sean, it's
Yeah.
like, especially with Sean, and
Sean,
it's just
like in the car with Sexy Red, singing his
it's like
song.
blowing my mind right now because like
What?
y'all know like Shawn Michaels at these days, like he's like the biggest Bible thumper out there. And it's
Uh-huh.
like, wait a minute, like how we get here? How in the world did we get here?
Well, it's because technically he knows he's a worker. When it comes down to it, he's a worker. So when Sexy Red's around, he knows what Sexy Red does. So if that means he has to get back into
Who
his
who
HBK,
who in the locker room, who in the office said, you know what? Actually, I think I know what happened. So, like a couple months ago, Sexy Red was doing a video on social media, and she was singing HBK's theme song,
Oh,
and that went viral because, of course, you don't be expecting now Sexy Red um, to
yeah, be into wrestling.
be in wrestling like
Yeah.
that. So just clearly opened up the door to where she's on NXT and doing her thing. And of course, she definitely had her Star Spangled outfit that would have definitely fit in with
Oh,
anything on NXT and WWE. It was like, okay, like yeah, like the fit the vibe. So like I said, I think that for what she did, it was absolutely great.
and yeah, the only other thing that people would complain about, and that's just because it's really wrestling, is tattoos really aren't a thing. And so she's like tatted up and down. So I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
just compared to the two super clean, half naked dudes with no tattoos on them at all, that kind of stuck out. But I mean,
Yeah.
she was also wearing kind of like a red, white, and blue
Like I
onesie.
said her
So
outfit her outfit was ready. Like, if she wanted to go in the ring, she all she needed was some
that
boots
too.
and
Like
yeah,
I thought she was gonna smack somebody, but I'm sure she was probably worried she would actually smack the shit out of the person.
that's hilarious.
Oh man.
That's
But let's stay with the ladies and go to the women's North American title.
yeah,
Michin,
yeah.
Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, Jada
Mhm.
Parker, Lash Legend, Fallon Henley for 6-woman ladder match. They ended up doing a 3-on-3, which I didn't really understand that because I mean the way that
They always do
it
stuff like
in
that.
I
They
thought it
always
was
do
gonna
stuff
get
like that.
DQ'd though. Like for the match to like fall apart in chaos like it did, and for there to still end up being a winner. I mean, good on them for not doing what Triple H does, because Triple H always just ends things in DQ. Maybe that's just my Triple H brain being like, why didn't it just end in DQ? And
Mm.
Shawn Michaels is like, no, we need an ending. And we got the
Mhm.
ending. Sol Ruka snatched my girl Lash Legend Soul. Usually, if you're the one who is top before a PLE, you're not winning. So is Soruka, you're lovely. Your finisher is so cool, but I don't think you got it this weekend. And then Last Legend, that could be a hint that she's gonna win because she got knocked out. But also, she has her whole thing with Trick, so she can't
Well,
really have the belt.
she said she cut it off. She's trying to focus on getting this belt. And of course, I'm like, if it was me, I'd be like, hey, go get your belt and then come back, and bring that belt back home. But that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, we could be a power couple, girl.
I'm saying it's
That
right there.
that would actually be really cool. That would be able to, because they're still struggling. Like I told you, I'm struggling with these new people's names. Like the dude who wrestled with Trick, I can't remember his name. I know he's
Um,
bouncy. But
Javon, I think Javon Hayes, I
yes,
think.
yes,
No, it's
and
not.
so
It can't be Hayes.
it's no. I know the Javon part is nice, was right, but it's like I'm. He's cool. He's still like, and I like it. I like his energy. He's still
Yeah,
so raw, and I
Javon
like
Evans.
Javon.
Javon Evans.
Okay, and I like how, and even that name still that sounds like a wrestler's first name. It sounds like
That sounds like
he's gonna have a
that.
lot of change.
The old man would never ever give someone the name of Javon. That like I said, whoever is in the name working the name generator in NXT, they were like, really, like when did we get Javon?
They're just getting like more and
We got
more normal, and I don't get this when the people they're bringing on are more becoming more and more extraordinary. So it's like
mhm.
I almost want them to go back to being like Gladiator and giving them like fucking names like Icicle and Doom
You know what?
Man.
You know what though? I get it to an extent because I mean, even like in go back to the Attitude Era, like you had people who like you didn't have anything that sounded like overly done. It just Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, like even Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Of course, it sounded fancy, but at the same time, it wasn't something that sounded like who would be named this like whose mama would name this child this name. It never happened back then. Of course you still had Doink and the Goon, but still like when you actually had a regular name, that
Doink
actually
was a
sounded like a
little
regular
wild.
name. So
So are
yeah,
you shooting shots at the people named Javon? What about all the people named Javon?
I mean, I think I do know a Javon.
Uh,
I went to high school with Javon.
my
He was
nephew's name
cool.
is Javon. My
He was
middle name
he was
is
bony.
Jovan. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you just coming at me and my family right now.
Everything I love, man.
Okay, so who do you think's gonna win this North American title?
So something I noticed the other night while watching NXT, I noticed that 5 out of the 6 women in the match are black, and I was like, of course, because people don't think Sol Ruka is black, she's actually is black. Um, and On that note, I think that they're gonna mess around and have Fallon Andrew. I was like, let me get the white girl.
uh, yeah, Michin. Maybe it's just because I never got to see her in her heyday. Even down in NXT, she's still her character work is great, but like
The
I need
funny
to
thing
see
is,
her wrestling.
the funny thing is that um, I think her character work in NXT is a lot better than it is on the main roster. Like
Yes,
what she's been doing
yes. But
on the main roster.
that finisher, the hold a hand and let someone fall into your foot, like that's not it, girl. You got to find something else out because that fall, someone falling into your foot, and I mean, technically, you could snap someone's spine, but I don't think you're concussing them with that move,
Right. I mean,
and it
I
just looks
I
so silly.
I know we'll probably get to it back to it in a little bit, but uh Michin and Jordan Grace had a scene backstage, and of course, for those of y'all that don't know, Mia Yim used to be in TNA back when it was still Impact and everything. And just like the one thing I noticed over the past week, like they WWE referenced New Japan, um, TNA. I think they acknowledged um, a couple of indies over the past week. I was like, we really are in a new world because there is
Yeah,
no shot in hell
yeah,
again that the old man would have done this. And it's like, I get it, like, WWE is like its own big bubble in itself, but I think it's okay to at least acknowledge,
mhm,
the majority of the wrestling world. I mean, obviously, you're probably not going to reference AEW, which
yeah.
they almost did. They were this close, and that we'll probably get into in a little bit. But but it's just the fact that hey, there actually is a world outside of WWE, and you know, and now it seems like you're at least slowly letting other people in. Like I don't think we got to go all forbidden door or anything with it, but at least like hey, there is an ecosystem outside of WWE that hey, you might be able to utilize and everything.
Um, I'm gonna start calling them restricted entrances. I'm so tired of forbidden doors. We need to figure out a new name for it. But
The velvet rope.
right, but acknowledging the other companies other than AEW, of course. Um, not only is it brilliant, it's it's brilliant. It's brilliant on multiple levels, but it's also almost like evil because it was almost like once upon a time before all the wrestlers, indie wrestlers, made it up to WWE. Now they can really be like, I stood a chance, but you still never knew if anyone was watching or paying attention and things. But now that they're acknowledging these other wrestling federations to these wrestlers, especially if they wrestle in these federations, they now are, hey, I'm having WWE watching me, which might mess some things up with what these other federations got going on. And I'm not
Y-
saying that the WWE will take them, but it is always good to have positive relations for if you do need to pilfer some players or if they do want to move up, things can be positive. So just in case those wrestlers can come back and I
mhm.
guess Triple H understands the whole like to talk football, the whole pyramid of it all. Like he
Yeah,
understands that someone from the top can easily end up in the bottom and you
yeah.
might want them back in the top. So you kind of need a good environment, and especially if you
You need a
want,
healthy system. You definitely need a healthy system
especially
because
because
I think
wrestling, yeah, the dark side of wrestling. Like we know about all this stuff. And I feel like this is a small step that can really change the foundation of, just peace, positivity, mental health, just because you know that there's like less heat and all that other stuff, especially with all this mix. I don't know. That just makes things happier as a wrestler in general. Like just to know that I don't have to sneak around. I don't have to be weird with other people. The only way I can talk to an AEW person is if I'm married to them, and
right.
they were like fired from WWE or let go from WWE, and that's the only way
Yeah.
that they can be seen and stuff like that. It's I
It's
don't know.
it's interesting. It's interesting because like I'll give you a prime example of that. The Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame, and like there were multiple cases of where like you had some WWE talent who their partners are in AEW. Like
Oh,
You had Keith Lee coming through with Mia Yim. You had Buddy
me,
Murphy
me
coming through with
chin,
Rhea Ripley.
me
Yeah,
chin.
and I think there were a couple others as well. And
Yeah,
you like
Malachi Black is with Zelina
yeah,
Vega.
yeah,
Like that was
and
crazy. I found that out the other day.
yeah, that one visually it never adds up to. I'm like, how did that even work? But hey,
Because
love
Zelina
love is
Vega
love. Like
low
so, we're
key
we're
is
we're in June. We're in June, so love is love.
I guarantee you she was one of those like goth nerdy chicks growing up and she just became attractive into makeup and got big fake boobs. Like shout out to her. I don't
Possible.
mean that like hate, but it's just like, well, I mean, you still see her doing all the cosplay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She's doing all the nerdy things still. I mean, you see her space when she does live streams. She's surrounded by like stuffed animals and stuff. She's still into all that stuff. She just became very, very attractive and a wrestler, so it just works. I mean, it's just like Meg the Stallion now showing off how nerdy she really is. Sometimes you gotta like hide those things. You gotta seem cool and tough until you make it and you're famous, and then you're just like, "Hi guys, I'm actually a giant dork."
That's always the weird thing is like in a lot of cases like you have these people who portray a big and tough image, but like I said, like they have these streams, they do the gaming and everything, and then you get them in that space. You're like, hold on, this dude's a big old dork, and
Yeah, like Keith Lee, a big old dork.
and you just like you're able to see that side. Of course sometimes it helps them as far as whatever it is that they're doing in the ring in the sense that, but I also would argue at the same time, like if you're trying to give off one image but you also are giving this one,
Mhm.
it leaves the messaging kind of inconsistent. And like I said, like you gotta you have to balance it out one way or the other, so that way whatever that you're doing in the ring, still carries over, and you're able to get over the way way that you want to. But it
And
but
yeah,
yeah, I think that with
I actually want to stay with that one quick before I want to cut
yeah,
you off because you brought up a great point. Because perfect example is Rhea Ripley. She's
yeah,
gone, but if you follow her on social media,
she's
her
outside,
post, yeah, and she's having the best
outside.
time of her life, and I'm loving it, and it's making me love her, and it basically is saying, "Hey, I'm a face. Like, enjoy me, love me." I know it seems like she's separating it, but if you're tapped into Rhea Ripley like that there I mean, everybody always cheers her anyway, but I mean,
Mhm.
she was technically bad, so you knew to boot her. I don't think if you follow her on socials, you've been paying attention to her at all. There's nobody out there who wants to boo her. That all anybody wants to do is cheer her on.
Yeah, I definitely think that with the way that she got hurt and just the way that they they turned that into an angle, and then of course everything that's happened since she's left. I think that when she gets back, there's no way that she's not going to be able to be a babyface. I think that's right. That's just waiting for them. So, like I said, like with the way
And
things are cooking on Raw. Oh yeah, they're gonna be cheering her like crazy the moment she gets back.
yeah, 1,000%. And let's just stay in her little group that runs Raw. Damien Priest.
AKA Xerxes.
Oh no.
Tell me
Yeah.
that doesn't sound like Xerxes from 300. Tell me he does. If they ever need a cartoon, a 300 cartoon, they got to call up Damien Priest to do Xerxes. It's right there,
I
and
mean,
he doesn't even need vocal effects. It's right there.
you're not off. You're not off. Okay, so I was saying they needed to build him as this big old badass, and I think they were trying to do it, and they almost did it
They're
until he
getting there.
botched that top rope crucifixion powerbomb. I think if he would have landed that, then yeah, because that's what you do with Ray. They use Ray to get taken out and get given some whoever takes him out this huge heat. I was shocked that they were going to do it, considering he's been back for like a month, and they were gonna like take him out probably for another 2-3 weeks after that move. It would have gave Damian Priest a lot of heat, and
Mhm.
good on them for being professionals and making the best of the situation. But Damien definitely fell flat by the end of it. Like by the end,
Mhm.
because he said he was gonna leave Rey Mysterio basically like broken, and he was talking all that crap the entire time. And then the second that move was botched, he lost all of his charisma and all of his heat, all of his anger. You could tell that they were just trying to get to the end of it.
I mean, you got something back by the end of the show where with that piece with Drew McIntyre. Like they're trying to keep things, I guess, relatively warm for that match, which is now booked for Clash of the Castle, and I think that's next weekend. I think now that I think about it, and just in how, like I said, I don't think there's necessarily been a bad run for Damien. I just think that clearly they wanted to go ahead and get that cash in done so that um and of course with everybody out, like Punk out, Seth out, Drew McIntyre, like I say, he's there but he hasn't really been working any matches, so it's like um they it's like, hey, well, if they're all gone, let's go ahead and see what we can do with Damien. I think that it's fine for what it is, but clearly they're not investing a great deal, at least not at this point. I think that it's something where you could have it for the moment and then see how you do, and then hopefully we'll get back to you like in like a year or two, something like that. Because I think that clearly they got more money elsewhere, on the roster, and it is what it is.
They got all kinds of money everywhere, just vibing, just hanging out, doing nothing,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely nothing.
it's like I said, I I don't hate it, but at the same time, I think that they know that this is just a vehicle to get to the actual money that's elsewhere. Because I know that they'll probably have Punk and Drew all day long, and then of course you still have you know Seth whenever they decide to bring him back. So yeah,
They had
and then on top of that, and I'll be remiss if we didn't at least make mention of this guy
oh
during this episode. Braun Breaker, LeBron Breaker. Yo, that dude's gonna be a monster real soon.
yeah, that Frankensteiner he did.
Oh my god, dude! Like, how do you have the athleticism to not just jump up on the top turnbuckle like that, manage to still get a taunt in, and then pull off that Frankensteiner off the top like it's nothing, like. the level of freakish athleticism this guy has, and like I said, the way that they've been building him up already, because it's not even so much about giving him a title; it's just about making him a threat. And I
Mhm.
think that the way that they're doing it, I a lot of people have been saying Intercontinental. I'm like, no, I see world title coming real sooner rather than later. I
It
think
makes
that,
sense because
yeah,
honestly, he doesn't even have to be in a match much. He
yeah,
just
yeah.
he could they could honestly keep kicking his butt and someone gets exhausted in the ring and he just comes out of nowhere, bounce, 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 spear, pin. Like he doesn't have to do much. It's just he gets into him at like honestly, money in the bank. Money in the bank.
That I could see that. I could also see the Rumble because him winning the Rumble next year.
I mean, Rumble would be a great way to have him look dominant without actually winning it because he could spear a million people.
Oh no!
And
If the opportunity is there, I firmly see him winning that. I think that I like this. Of course, obviously, it's way too far in advance to really see it. But I think that I see one or two options happening. I see either Braun winning it, or I see Seth winning it. Depending on when Seth comes back, if it's relatively closer to the Rumble, I see him coming back. I see him winning that.
but I want to see a new Seth Rollins. And if we get Money in the Bank Seth Rollins, we're gonna get evil master
Ooh,
manipulator Seth Rollins back. So that's why
well,
I'm
yes and no. I feel like actually, like, was given where they left things out off, both with Drew as well as with Punk. I think that there's definitely an opportunity there to where you could say turnabout is fair play, and let's say Punk wins the belt from Drew, but then Seth comes back with wins some Money in the Bank, and then he cashes in on Punk.
but also if Punk ends up being the winner, does Seth even need a Money in the Bank for a reason to be able to fight CM Punk? Because
No, but at the same time, that's one way to just stick it back in Punk's odds,
that's
is of
fair.
course
That's
of
fair.
their rivalry and
That's
everything.
fair.
So
That's fair.
it kind of works.
That's
So,
fair. That's fair.
but yeah, like I said, like this just talking about this right here is why I firmly believe that yeah, we're about to see the end of Damien's run pretty soon. There's just more money elsewhere. There just is.
That's funny, and that's fair, and that's very fair. Okay, where should
And
we?
then you still had the element of Gunther, dude. It's been nice knowing you, Damien. But yeah, we gotta get the spit off you.
Oh yeah, no, Damien. It's this is his chance. Like this is what he's gonna get. He already had a short shelf life because he's very similar to LA Knight. Like he's getting to the top at an older age.
True,
So and he
true.
already has to grow from where he needs to
Started, yeah.
be. Yes. Already at an older age. So
Mhm.
yeah, like he can probably always do wrestling, but it might be best if he goes away for a little bit, does a movie or two, comes back, does some
He
wrestling.
would never be short on voiceover work ever.
That well, yeah, that also. Like it would, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's the next like WWE superstar to do some
I mean,
stuff.
he'll be doing voiceover commercials like John Cena does. So yeah, it's all right there.
Well, I'd much rather hear him talk than John Cena. I hate every single time John Cena's voice fucking comes on a commercial. I'm just like, oh, get whatever this is off of my screen. I will never buy it. I don't know. It's just
Oh man,
because there's a difference between him being a voice actor because he has a good voice. It's a voice actor because people know John Cena and they now know
that
his
too,
voice.
that
I
too.
don't,
But like,
I don't when I think of he doesn't have an epic voice. It's a friendly voice. Like his voice would be good for like when you're watching a job orientation video and there's just like the voice reading something to you. That seems friendly. That makes the job seem like they're not all the way into the deep bowels of capitalism. But Damien Priest, like, that sounds like a cool voice. Like that dude sounds like someone who wants to party. Like I could see like a fun rom com or like maybe a buddy cop film. Like his voice would be the voiceover for that, and obviously all the characters in the world. Yeah, like I just feel like there are levels to voice acting, and John Cena's like it just annoys me more than anything.
No, I feel you. I feel you on that.
Oh man, we're so far off of our. Okay, we haven't even touched Liv, Dom,
Yeah, let's. Yeah, I mean,
Mommy.
yeah, we got to talk about the other side of Judgment Day and the the budding romance of Liv and Dom. And at least she would have had and just put it out there, and say, "Hey, I'm doing this to take away everything
I know,
from
I
Rhea
love
Ripley."
that. I love it. And also it's 2024. Women are doing the creepiness now. They are the ones overstepping boundaries. They are the ones who aren't listening when we say stop and back off. Shout out to women in 2024.
Empowerment.
This is equity, baby.
That's hilarious. I mean, it's 'cause I saw like one tweet last week. We're talking about like this is technically sexual harassment. I'm like, I was
Sure,
told by
nerd.
I was told a while back by this one woman that sexual harassment is very subjective, and
1,000%.
if you if you feel in that person, you know, a lot of stuff gets forgiven. So I think that
That's it. It's a very thin line. Like it's sexual harassment if you don't like it. If you
yeah,
like it, then it's flirting.
yeah,
That's it. That's it. If someone comes up to you and they hit on you and you like it, they are hitting on you. But if someone hits on you, you go ill, creep, and it's just the difference is whether it works or not. I mean, and that's and so much can go wrong if
yeah.
it doesn't go well, and then it's just yeah. No, you're very right, and you can tell Dom he likey some Livy
I mean, the way she was looking on Monday,
and his bros. Yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
I get it,
yeah,
dog.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And his bros, they're hating. His girl ain't even there. Like, what you doing?
I mean, you try, of course, because that's mommy and everything, and they try to look up for mommy,
She's
but
not
I'm like,
there. She won't know.
that's see, we were talking about this offline. This goes right to that argument as far as just you know when when you're not on camera, you do realize that you could watch this stuff on TV and be like, yeah, I was flipping around one night and I happened to see you and Liv on Raw kissing. What's up with that? And
I
like,
feel
like
like
what? I don't know what happened.
some wrestlers acknowledge TV out of it. Sometimes they
Right,
don't because like
right.
there's a kayfabe world, but then you'll go to Rey Mysterio's actual home and AJ Styles'
You go
actual
to Jewel
home.
home, yeah,
Yeah. So, but it's like, but is this? I thought this was kayfabe. Like,
yeah.
but that's his actual home. Like, can you at least do a fake home just to make me feel like this is
Uh,
still kayfabe? Like, they're breaking a wall sometimes, and other
yeah, I
times
remember
they
when
don't acknowledge the wall, and it kind of annoys me sometimes.
Triple H went to Randy Orton's home and like they busted up a whole lot of shit. I was like, there's no way this is his house. There's no way whatsoever. But yeah, like sometimes you need that line to be firmly drawn. This is not my house. This is not where I live. No, no, no. Y'all
Like,
over
it
here
just needs to
breaking
be.
windows and
It
shit.
just needs, yeah, and it just needs to be like oddly bare. Like it looks like a home, but there's like just one photo, family photo, and it's like a bad one. Like I just need to know that it's like when yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. But
I know like it.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Dominic gonna keep his heat going. The only problem is they're gonna have to somehow either figure out how to make this story build quiet, like using mimery charades, because
Mm-hmm.
Dom can't talk like in front of the crowd because they
Mm-hmm.
boo him. And honestly, I don't even think that they should try to stop that from happening, because of the fact that you will never get a reaction to someone like this, I think, really ever again. So if you can legitimately keep his entire career where his shtick is boo him so he can't talk in front of crowds, I think that's literally the greatest, one of the greatest achievements in wrestling. So I don't,
Mm.
you just need to do more backstage stuff, more pre-recorded stuff. Like just, and he just needs to grow that side of his promo and then
Yeah.
get into the ring and do his thing.
Yeah. And so hopefully he gets back in the ring soon. I know like I think Leo yanked his sling and everything. I mean, that's another thing with Rhea, because like she's been out here out in the streets, she's been outside and everything. I ain't seen no sling. I'm like was this really an injury, or you just need some time off? So, you know,
Well, the thing
I
is,
think
yes, they well, I think it's both. So they said it's technically 6 weeks, but the whole thing is, they push it in wrestling to really make you miss the people.
yeah.
So I think that's really what's going on.
I think that it's quick sidebar right here. I'm not sure if you saw it or not. Because it kind of ties to this. Randy Orton had a interview um that aired a couple either this past weekend or a couple days ago, and he was talking about like how you know he's kind of happy that the old man is gone, and he gave a story about how he wanted to cut down on the schedule because he was already starting to have issues with his back. And the old man was like, hey, I need you, like, Mother Nature basically said, no, Mother Nature gets us all. And it's like, hey, you just got to go ahead and take the L and take it for the team.
That's fair.
And I was like, well, damn. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in that company right now who are just high key happy that the old man is gone. I mean, because like, just being able, because like, and of course, he went into like being able to like take off for birthdays, holidays, taking off Christmas. 'Cause I think like the last 2 years, they've actually have they've done like a best of episode on use like the
Yep.
Monday
Yep. They did it for
around
SmackDown.
Christmas,
Yeah, I hated
and
it.
it's
I
like,
mean, I loved it. I loved it because yeah, like respect, let them get off. But like, I
yeah.
hated that shit.
I mean, it's just it's 1 week that you just got to skip and everything. But I mean, I think just for the benefit of allowing the wrestlers to actually
Actually,
get
be with
time with
their
their
family.
families, that
Yes,
part's good.
that's very
And
cool.
and
I still
like I
hate
said,
it.
like for for a lot of these people, it's like yeah, like this. It actually makes it to where when you do come back, you actually want to do more because hey, you actually are provided some resemblance of a life outside of the work that you do, because obviously you're
Yeah.
on the road so often.
Yes, and actually getting a whole week, 10 days off in wrestling is like
That's a
3
miracle.
months in normal time.
Yeah,
Okay, so does is Dom aware of what Liv is doing? Are they in cahoots?
I think the way that they're doing it, um, I'm actually going to say no, but I also would say that she's easily breaking him down. It's not that
Oh yeah,
hard.
yeah, no, but I mean, we know Dom is kind of a weak dude who goes with the flow. He turned on his own dad. When you turn on your dad, nobody is safe.
and it's and essentially his mom too. I'm like, dog, like
Yeah,
how you turn on moms, man? Like, come
yeah,
on now.
yeah. So like, if you turned on your dad and your mom, a mommy is in a problem.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay, Chad Gable.
Yes. Yo, first of all,
Yes.
the way they've been building this up, like just the 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 prospect of Otis getting his lick on Chad Gable and just the pop that he got when that shit finally happens, which apparently needs to happen sooner rather than later because
Yeah.
like we'll talk about in a few. It looks like Chad Gable is running out of time on his current deal, but
Yeah, this weekend.
I think that the fact that they still haven't pulled the trigger on this and they got that much of a pop, I'm like, dog, when it finally happens, it's gonna be magic. It's gonna be absolute magic. And
But what do you do
yeah,
after?
I mean, I think the way things are going, and I think that's another reason why they need to go ahead and hurry up and sign him. Um, I think that he'll Chad will win the Intercontinental belt.
Yes.
He'll go ahead and drop um Alpha Academy, get
Yeah.
his new squad together, probably with the Creed brothers or whatever. And when that happens, oh, it's gonna be on. And but yeah, like I like honestly when Chad pushed Maxine, who was oddly growing on me.
Oh no,
Um
she's. I mean, you can see her physicality. Like she's always going to be like a thinner girl, but you can definitely
mhm.
see the muscle on her that she's building, and she
she's
looks much
she is
better in the ring. Like it
yeah.
obviously it's like scrawny girl muscle, but I definitely was like looking at her thighs, and I was like,
Hmm,
oh
yeah,
damn,
it's
because it was like
yeah.
the silhouette, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
good for her. She actually kind of like looked a little imposing. You could see like muscle definition and stuff like that. I was like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, there's some things that probably wouldn't be appropriate for this podcast, but yeah, just know that in my head it's there. So I can really tell you.
Oh, but yeah, no, I'm, and that's kind of the problem because they're doing this whole Akira, Maxine, Otis, they're a waste of time when Maxine is making legitimate progress, but I know they can spin off from all of this once they get sent off to the side. Everyone's going to be rooting for Maxine because of the fact
Mhm.
of she was so terrible. And maybe that is half the reason why this is falling apart is because she was actually so bad. They kind of just turned it into real life. But when she starts actually kicking ass, it's going to be really cool to see. She's always going to be tiny though, so that's kind of. But I mean, Becky Lynch can be the champion.
But she has some height on her, so it can
Yes,
kind of still work.
yes. If Becky Lynch can be a champion and rock bottom other women, and that's supposed to be a believable thing, like literally knee dropping people on the back of their head on a rope, and that's like damaging. She's like, girl, you literally weigh 95 pounds. Like, what are we doing? Like, but also respect. Speaking of uh contracts expiring, Ricochet, the homie Ricochet,
Yeah,
he's gonna have to
yeah.
leave
Like
his girl Samantha, isn't he? Like there because the argument is you're always gonna be the biggest wrestler you can be in WWE, but some people have to leave and come back, even if the leave and the comeback doesn't mean much. You're definitely gonna get paid more, and you're at least gonna get a bigger push that first because it's just like Naomi. Like
somewhat,
Naomi is
somewhat.
yes, but Naomi at least I would assume like very similar to that. Like Naomi is being taken much more seriously, and Ricochet, I think I don't know where that needs to be. Maybe he just needs to do a month in 10 different wrestling federations, 12 different wrestling federations, and just show that he really is like pound for pound the best wrestler and work on his
I
promo.
I
Because,
think that, and I think it's coincidental that you use the Naomi example because I think that in her case, when she went um, to TNA, they pushed her right away and ultimately made her women's champion. And I think that obviously that they used her in a way that was more than what she would have likely been used in WWE. Of course, we're already seeing like how things are going since she's come back. She's kind of gone back to more of a mid card standing
yeah,
than a main eventer. And I think that you know in a lot of cases, um, WWE is the biggest platform, is the biggest company, and all that stuff, and all that's well and good. However, comma, I would also say that sometimes you have to go elsewhere to prove your value. Case in point, Cody Rhodes. He left WWE almost 10 years ago, did his thing on the indies, did his thing with Ring of Honor, Impact, then obviously starting things up with AEW, and that pretty much put him at a point to where when he came back, he was seen in a different light and be like, "Hey, we're going to elevate you now to where you are one of our top guys and basically our top guy right now."
But he's
And
35. Can he go away for 10 years?
no, definitely not. I think that his ceiling is pretty much where it's going to be at in WWE. So just a matter of two things. One, does he want a bigger spot for himself, or is he willing to understand that in WWE, Samantha is a star in this,
In his
and
relationship, yes.
and in WWE period? Because I feel like Samantha's making a name for herself, as an announcer, to where it's like she's not going anywhere. They're going to make sure that she's there. So from there, it's just a matter of, one, do you want to keep her happy? And then two,
Nah,
how
he's
do you
gotta
balance
go.
that?
He has to go. He has
I,
to go. I don't know.
I,
Like maybe this is like my own like male ego jumping out for him. But like
I think that I think I can see both sides of that. I feel like obviously you want to, happy wife, happy life, and all that stuff. I get all that, but I also feel like maybe if you can get away for like a year or so, do some excursion shit, like I said, like in like 10 other spots, probably everywhere but AEW, basically.
yes,
Because which I actually think that would be the best idea. I feel
I
like
do too.
stay far away from AEW for multiple reasons. I feel like they already have people like him in AEW. They don't need another one. Like,
Exactly.
um, but whatever it is, make it short term, then come back. Hopefully, you have a new coat of paint. Maybe they look at you a little differently. Maybe they don't. But
Literally
I feel
go
like,
win every fucking title you can. Like only work for a federation that will give you your title. It doesn't matter how big they are. You can win like 5 tiny ones, a couple regional ones, and one in Japan, stuff like that. But like if you come back and they say he won 10 belts, it doesn't matter where they are.
mm,
Saying something crazy like that, that sounds fantastic. And obviously, it doesn't have to be 10. It could be 5. It could be 6. And
yeah,
he could easily go and 6 federations would let him be champion in all of them at the same time because that is a thing that happens. So it's
yeah,
just
definitely.
I think that would be his best bet.
But
Because but also if he wants to stay at WWE and be a trophy husband, I'm all for it. I'm going
hey,
to
we are in the era of trophy husbands.
well, that's what I'm saying.
Whether it's women's wrestlers, WNBA players. Hey,
Exactly.
come call us.
I am
Come call us.
going to the Chicago Red Stars versus Bay FC at Wrigley Field this weekend.
Can't forget the NWSL as well. Because trust me,
Yeah. I
wherever you are at Jamaica Fields, you come call me. That's all I
you
got to say.
if you are an athlete and you have a nice life because of your athleticism and you just need a nice beautiful man who will support you and
And
do
they,
the
they,
things
they
needed
literally
for
just
you.
had a reality show that was loosely a trophy husband because you had uh what was the show with Bianca and Montez? I'm like,
Oh yeah.
Montez is about this close to being a trophy husband.
Oh,
This
1,000%.
close.
1,000%. And he's incredibly talented and deserves to be in a spotlight as big as her, but it's just not
True.
happening for some reason.
Yeah,
Like he has all the talent in the world and all the charisma in the
absolutely.
world. He has
Firmly believe that.
all of the things that it's needed. It's just not happening for him.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing because I would have thought that by now he would have been broken up from the Street Profits and the Pride would never have been a thing.
Maybe
But yeah,
that's the
we're
problem.
we're still
Maybe they
here.
are trying to break him up and they don't want to, and that's what's keeping them back. I don't
But
know.
I actually they've been teasing this for like for the longest time. It's like go ahead and just break it up. Because like everybody can't meet a New Day and be together for 10 years. It doesn't make sense. I mean, like if you know that you got a bigger future with with one guy, go ahead and make that shit happen. Especially when you already know that that could allow you to do more stuff with him and his wife, and they can break off and do their own thing. So but hey, I guess that's too much like right.
Okay. Um I'm trying to think what else happened in these WWE streets.
I mean,
I know.
wait a
Oh,
minute. We
what
talking about the craziest thing, the 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 retirement of AJ Styles that turned out to be the Mark Henry Part Two on Cody Rhodes.
and I fucking fell for it. My dumb tail. I fell for it. I should have known, but I don't know. It just I forgot.
That's how they get you.
Uh
That's
huh.
psychology.
Uh
That's how
huh.
they get you.
It is.
That's
It
how they
is.
get you.
And it was just because it kept phoning it in, like it just kept getting layered. Where every single time I was like, wait, no, wait, is he serious? Wait, is he serious? And people were just like, when Cody came out, that's when I knew. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry,
It's a
I'm not
trap. It's a
jaded.
trap.
I'm sorry, I'm not jaded. And I actually still buy into everything.
No, I mean, like the way that they did it, honestly, it was good. I mean, obviously, it was because you have enough people who obviously remember when Mark Henry did it on John Cena. No, they obviously they saw that shit right away. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that what AJ did was bad because, like I said, it was very well done, and kind of. I want to say we talked about it in a past episode, because I felt like until you decide to go back to whatever happens with Cody and the bloodline, I feel like you need a story that kind of stretches out a couple months. And I feel like, granted, Cody and Logan Paul had a great match at in Saudi Arabia. I think that um going back to the the match at Backlash in France, that's the one I'm like, yeah, let's dig back on this and see what we can get. 'Cause clearly, it's not a case of where AJ can't still go because clearly he can. It's just a matter of giving him something to where people will invest in him again. 'Cause I think that for a while he was kind of going through this holding pattern where it's like we're not really doing a whole lot with him. Like even like with the stuff with LA Knight, it was like yeah, like it'll be cool for like a month or two and then it's done. I mean, because all things considered, like they're actually tied 1-1 like in matches. So it's like you never really quite had that rubber match between the two. So um but I think that with him and Cody, I think that there's something where they got some meat on the bones. They'll probably have something a Clash of the Castle, possibly even something at Money in the Bank. But
But that means AJ has to win though.
not necessarily. I think that um
Someone jumps in and DQs and makes it hotter for him.
possibly.
Because that's the only way it gets pushed and another fight comes out of it, because he can't lose twice and still get a
Well,
third
well
fight. Like, come on now.
keep in mind that like Cody and Seth went 3 matches and Cody won all of them. So I think that it's definitely possible if you know how to uh, effectively keep that heat going to where it's like, well, he lost, but he still isn't down all the way. Like you got to figure out how do I get this guy to stay down, to go down and stay down and not come back. And I think that like I said it's definitely possible. It's just a matter of like I said, like I think that even with how um they Cody won in France, you could have easily just said like, hey, that's one and done, and that's it. They had to figure out a way to, hey, how do we reheat this back up to where people want to see more? So it's not impossible. You just gotta tell the story right.
Okay. Uso. Us. Us.
Oh,
I'm sad, Us. That
I've had far too many arguments and debates the past couple of days about the Usos and the Bloodline and what's to happen now. But I will say this: I'm not sure what happened with Jay on Monday, and
Was he just like too like I did did someone did he know that it was that this was supposed to lead to something big? I don't know. He just seemed super nervous. Like I and then he like needed a pause immediately. And he's like, "Why are you haven't said anything? Why are you so nervous? What is going on? Why are you so nervous right now? You're just should you not be in the crowd? Should you were you supposed to go into the ring, but then you decided to like stand in the crowd? Like I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't you could tell that he wasn't feeling it and he was trying to get the eat thing going, but
It's fun. It's interesting to see that like that didn't go off the way that it normally does because typically, you know, any opportunity you can get a what in or a yeet in, the fans are on top of that, and it just seemed like it just wasn't
it's
there. I mean,
because he messed up at the
sometimes it just
beginning.
yeah.
Huh. He just he okay, so specific like this is going see, you know psychology of wrestling and my shit is just like the psychology and the body language and all that so
Mm.
like from the moment he messed up because I think he was trying to come out and do an actual like promo because that's what a lot of people say. They can't he never comes out and just does like a a narrative type of promo where he like tells a story. He's just like, whatever, blah blah, and also embracing the yeet is kind of like it's dumb. And I think he was trying to give out a promo that would get people to hit the heart, but then he messed up. So then he pivoted because he knew he needed to get the crowd back. So he went to the yeet, and that's why when it didn't work, he had to like pause and be like, "Hey guys, I'm going back to the yeet." Yeet. Okay, now you're in. So now I gotta scramble and refigure out this what I'm saying and doing for it to land. And then when he he like had a hard pause, and then the music played. Like he got played off like Emmy style. Like your speech is too long, bro. Get off. And then he like hit the mic. Like you could tell he was mad at himself, and that bummed me out because it's like you're struggling in the ring so if you can't do the promo, like well,
What else
you're
you
in
got?
trouble, my boy.
What else you got?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
else you
you're in
got?
trouble. You're in
I
trouble.
mean,
And
sometimes you like sometimes people are able to stay on top of that and catch themselves. Sometimes they actually do kind of get shook right there in the moment, and it's interesting to see like how they get out of that moment and make it to where we're back on even ground. But sometimes it doesn't happen. I mean, maybe it's just a one off. Hopefully it is, and hopefully the fans allow him that grace to get basically get his lick back next week.
yeah, I mean,
Actually, now that I think about it, because I don't because like he's already talking about going
yeah,
into the
money in
Money
the
in the
bank.
Bank, so he probably not going to have anything in Clash the Castle. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I'm sure he'll show up. He'll probably come out for with someone, or he'll do something pre-match. They have to have him because it's going to be a PLE. You need all the Scots to turn on their phone lights and uncoordinatedly wave.
Hopefully they know, hey, twos and fours, not one and
One, two,
threes. But
three.
we'll see.
It was so bad watching the people doing it in J. It was like and also they don't turn the lights all the way down, so like that also kind of takes away from it. I don't know. It just yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't. It does not hit as hard, but it is what it is. Okay, I unfortunately I don't want to end this show talking about Ethan Page, but I what I want to say is one, he's doing the like cocky asshole thing, I guess, well enough that I hate him, but I don't believe him. So it just legitimately just makes me hate him.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be like Chris Jericho right now, which is the absolute shits right now, which is like, good lord. Um, but you know,
Please
obviously
retire.
he's spent the last I think 3 at least 3 years in AEW, and before that he was in Impact.
What was his name at
And
AEW? Was it Ethan Page?
yeah, and they like he's been Ethan Page. I want to say pretty much his whole career. And they even kept the all ego gimmick. Um, I know that in AEW, that he definitely had moments where like he showed signs of real potential, but I think a lot of guys in AEW, you would have a moment, but it would never really totally be capitalized on. And like you might show up for like 3 or 4 weeks, but then you won't be seen for like 3 or 4 months afterwards. And it's like there's no way to like really sustain as far as trying to get yourself over if you spend some like if you spend so long off camera. Because like um I was talking about in one of my Facebook groups. We were talking about one of the guys at AEW. His name is Roosh. He's a Mexican wrestler, and he was on Dynamite this past Wednesday. But like for the most part, like he hasn't been on Dynamite all year. Like he has been on a Dynamite since the end of last year. Like he's had like a couple matches on Rampage, one match on Collision. It's like that's no way to stay visible if you're trying to get someone over, where you're like you're seeing that seldomly. And I think for a lot of guys, it's like just the way that they, I guess, rotate their roster. It's got to be absolutely maddening because it's like that. Like you got to stay visible somehow. If you're not visible, it's easy. It's really easy to be out of mind. And I feel like we've already seen in a few cases with some of the people who have jumped from AEW to WWE, like their visibility has increased damn near tenfold. Like you've seen Lexus King do his thing. You've seen Jade Cargill do her thing. You know, obviously Cody is what he is, but like the guys who were kind of like on the mid card or lower in AEW, who obviously wanted to work and but just wasn't given enough opportunity to work. I think that like this is an opportunity where it's like, yeah, like we're finally able to, you know, get more reps basically and hopefully develop into something
That's right.
that can be visible. I think that at least with how they debuted Ethan, I think that obviously they gave him a pretty high spot right away. Because he definitely fits the suit. He does do that. I think that as he progresses with NXT and quite possibly on the main roster, he'll figure out that good balance to where it's where that enthusiasm
Mm-hmm.
feels more natural. And like I said, the last thing you want to do is where where that heat and that anger, it doesn't seem natural.
Yeah.
And like I said, the last thing you want is to be like some like I said, I don't know if I've got you on the fire stick yet, but hopefully you have seen clips online of Jericho's shit lately. And it's so bad. It's so bad, and I'm like, that's not what you want because it sounds intentionally phony. And it sounds intentionally like in an unnatural way, and I'm sure there's probably something that's part of its gimmick, but I'm like it just comes off so bad. And but I have good hopes for Ethan Page. Obviously, he's got the match with Trick this weekend at Battleground, which is at um, the UFC Battleground up in Vegas. So I'm actually kind of curious to see like how the space is set up. So I said I think that's on Sunday, right? So hopefully we'll have a good show. Of course, we'll see the women's North American champ crowned. We'll see Trick versus Ethan. Um, uh, my man Oba, I think he's got a match. And I said, of course, we got Sexy Red, so we could be sitting there twerking. Bow, 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 bow.
Pow, 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 pow.
Get it sexy.
Pow,
Get it
pow,
sexy. Get it
pow,
sexy.
pow. Oh man. Oh, that was
Yes, man. Oh, yes, man.
right. just shaking ass in the middle of the camera. Like the camera people, the production team, shout out to them knowing what to do. They were like, oh yeah, the overhead cameras would be perfect for this.
No. Did you see there that 6-woman tag? Because like on social media, Zoe Stark. No, it hasn't been Zoe. It was actually no, it was Zoe, but uh Meechin was teaming up with Jada Parker, and she saw Jada reaching over and like he just straight up smacked her ass
Uh-huh.
and fell over in the ring. I was like, that's hilarious.
That
And I'm
was
like, of
funny.
course, and of course they had this thing online about like basically knocking the Sonics rings out of people,
I
and
saw that.
yeah,
I
the
saw that.
Sonics rings came all out of Jada's ass. So it's like it's just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's great.
but hopefully that's a good way to a good positive way, a good family friendly way to end the show.
Yes, I think so. I think so. That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, don't. I did not say this at the beginning of the episode, so don't forget to rate, review, hit the thumbs up, like the show, uh,
Follow.
follow us on social media, YFW Podcast, on Twitter, on Instagram. We might even be on Threads. I don't remember. Sometimes I just do a bunch of things without actually remembering if I do them or not. Um,
Hilarious.
and so check us out. Share us on social media. Be like, I'm listening to your favorite wrestling podcast, and it's also my favorite wrestling podcast as well. Whoa, Grego,
Yes,
you want to
sir.
let people know where to find and follow you?
Yes, you can find me at Grego_82. You can also find my other podcast at FTCUTD on Twitter, FTCUTD Pod on Threads and IG, and you can find me in the streets. So where you can find me.
He be out
Because
in them
we about to be
streets.
outside. We about to be outside. It's summertime.
We outside. We outside.
Find me where there's good water. You can find me where there's good water.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Atlanta. Oh my
That's
goodness.
long term storytelling right now. I start with water, we end with water. There we go.
Oh man. We'll be back when we will be back. See you soon.